Welcome to the Wingman Show. My name is Drew Brown, and my wingman, my man, the number one guy I know, Dr. Paul Thompson. What's up, brother? Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Rumble, you two bad-ass jet pilots, rumble. Welcome to the Wingman Show. My name is Commander Drew Brown. My wingman, my friend, the guy who watches my six is Dr. Paul Thompson. Hello, my brother Paul.
Hello, Mr. Drew. Good to see you. You're very, very relaxed. You're very colorful. I like the background scenery this morning. It looks like you're having quite an adventure.
Well, we both have the Mediterranean behind us, except mine is live. We are filming from the Mediterranean. All right, Dr. Paul, you know we start this off always with a quote. The quote this week is, I hope you learn to see yourself with kinder eyes. That's by Brianna Weiss. I hope you learn to see yourself with kinder eyes. And that means give yourself the soft pillow, Paul. I learned that a while ago. You know, be nice to yourself. I have now started to make myself my own best friend, Dr. P.
Yeah, you need to, because you're always by yourself. You can't get away from yourself, can you?
Could never get away from yourself, Dr. Paul. Well, let's start this puppy off right. If you look behind me, you can see I am in the Mediterranean. And Dr. Paul and I both have been here. So the name of the show today is How to Cruise the Mediterranean, U.S. Navy or Virgin Voyages. I'll tell you what, Dr. P, you got the U.S. Navy behind you, and I'm sitting in Virgin Voyages, and it's quite a difference, Paul. This ocean is beautiful, though, and it brings back so many memories. And, you know, it blows my mind, Paul, that we know more about space than we do the ocean. And I can see why. I mean, I'm sitting here looking at this ocean, and it is just powerful. It is really powerful. It's a long time since you've been out here, huh, Paul?
It's been a while. I was on the ship behind me. It was a luxury liner, just without the luxury. Yeah, it's amazing. Don't you feel a different sense of things when you're really out on the high seas, kind of by yourself? Well, with the other people, but you don't see anything around you. You realize how big the world really is. Get outside the city and the traffic and your neighbors, and it's you and the fish and the clouds behind you.
I do, Paul. And I'll tell you what, I really miss it. And I remember on the Nimitz, I used to go to the back, which is called the fantail at night, and watch the plankton grow behind the ship. And it would glow, and it would be like lights under the water. And I used to just sit back there and look at the stars and the moon and really, really just feel myself back there. It was wonderful. And now doing it again, you know, every bolt and nut on this ship here was made for pleasure. The ships that we were on, Dr. Paul, every nut and bolt was made for war. A little bit different, wasn't it?
Yeah, a lot different. And the ship behind me, the USS Saratoga, is no more. It was turned into razor blades about 10 years ago. It was dismantled. But at the time, it was like one of four. They call them super carriers. They would be considered small today, but it's a different kind of life, very different kind of life. I'm sure there's no real entertainment on the ship, as I recall, other than unless the entertainment we did ourselves. So which you did, yeah, which you did, yeah. Guys did little skits and stuff like that. That was it.
Yeah, we definitely didn't have entertainment like we do here in Virgin Voyages. I'll tell you what, this Virgin Voyage cruise line is something else. I feel so good being out here, and the people out here are just so nice. It's just one big party without jets flying by everywhere. But I'll tell you what, another thing, Paul. Now, we were very blessed because we got to fly jets out here. And flying a jet over the ocean is just a feeling, and I can only imagine it now. But it was a feeling that was incredible, Paul.
Yeah. I especially particularly with me, when I was literally by myself. just with by myself, my thoughts, and just taking it all in. It's hard to describe it. It's different than going over the snow or over the mountains, which is a different experience. But just being over the water, really low to the water, like really low to the water, like really, really, really low to the water, is different that most people can't really relate to, especially if you're going, 500 miles an hour.
Paul, I was so low to that goddamn water once that I was blowing up rooster tails behind me. And I am not kidding. I think I was 10 to 12 feet over the water, and one little notch of that stick, and we would have all been dead. But it was the most exciting thing you've ever done. And, I was up in a Tomcat and we went Mach 2, but that was not as fast because there weren't things going by. When you are low to the ground and you fly like you and I did, when you fly attack jets low to the ground, that is smoking.
Yeah, you're not going to be, breaking the sound barrier to treetop level for a number of reasons. Definitely not twice the speed of sound. Yeah, it's quite a thrilling experience.
Yes, it was. It was the greatest thing I could have ever done. Well, instead of having our jets in the background, you see what we have in the background. But I want everybody out there to look at our hats, because New York, stand up. This has been the first time, and I don't care whenever you listen to this, you just need to know that Commander Drew Brown is so happy because my New York Knickerbockers finally have a team. Huh, Paul?
Yeah, this is surprising. And one of the main stars has been out for a long time, but they've kind of rallied, and some guys I'd never even heard of now are the new stars. I don't know half of them.
Either do I, but now I know them. But, Paul, there was a show that we actually did, and I was telling you, sports are not that important anymore. I'm not kidding. I remember that. That's because my team sucked, and I had nobody to root for. So this has been the first time I could root for somebody in a long, long time, and it's really exciting. Everybody out there, thank you so much for listening to our show on Apple Podcasts, for watching us on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. We really do appreciate iHeartRadio. Thank you so much for your support. And we do have a newsletter that comes out on wingmanshow.com. That's wingmanshow.com. And actually, our newsletter this week is how to pick out a vacation of a lifetime. So anybody can write us at wingmanshow.com and we'll answer your letter. How about we got one today? Our frequent flow line today is from a woman in El Paso. She says, "You two gentlemen have been all over the world. I want to start traveling and begin my new life. Where should I go first?" That's a very tricky question, but I'm going to throw that one to you, Paul.
Well, I guess she hasn't been anywhere. Well, you got to start. I'd say if you can, go out of the country. You're in El Paso. Haven't been to El Paso in quite a few years, but you're really close to Mexico. A good friend of mine is in Cancun right now. Check everywhere you go before, depending. The world is so crazy, make an informed decision on where you want to go. But you can go on the other side of the world. Maybe you can go to Canada. You might try Mexico. I spent a lot of time in Guadalajara, liked it. I've been to Puerto Vallarta, liked it. Acapulco, liked it. It was some time ago, but those are great. They are primarily vacation spots. So I'm looking at Texas there, and that's not that far. That's my first suggestion to you.
Well, El Paso, I went to New Mexico State University in Las Cruces, New Mexico, which is next to El Paso. And we used to go down to Juarez, Mexico. But what I can tell you is first find out what you really like to do and do some investigation. Like if you like dancing or something, find some places that really dance a lot. If you like music, find different music. You might like Spanish music. You might want to try Latin America or even come out to Spain. That's where I'm going right now. I'm going to Barcelona. Okay. But what I would do is start traveling. And I would also start off, don't start halfway around the world. Like Paul said, maybe go to Mexico and start getting your traveling legs together. And you'll start knowing what to bring with you. You'll start knowing how you react to certain things on your trip. But traveling is the greatest thing you can do because you will see that there's a big, big world out there, Dr. Paul. And, we're not in this little cubicle here called your own place. There's a big world out there. And the more you see, the more you learn, Dr. Paul.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm just looking at you right now, and you look we're doing a podcast, but you look very relaxed. You look more relaxed than normal.
God, Paul, I can't tell you how good I feel. This is great. My wife and I are on this cruise. It's a 15-day. We came from Miami. We're going to Barcelona. And this is, I've cruised before on the USS Nimitz. It wasn't like this, but this is the way to go. And this is, I guess, why I busted my ass all my life so I could vacation like this, Paul.
Yeah. I plan to see a little water this summer myself. But the thing is, you're out there, there's something very medicinal about being on salt water. Helps you rest better.
It is really incredible. Well, you know what that brings us to, and I don't even have a megaphone, so I'm going to make this up. It brings us to our 11 facts in life. This is a Wingman PSA. From fact number 8, power is asking for help and using it. Power is asking for help and using it. And Paul, that's one of the biggest things that when I spoke to kids are like scared to ask for help. It makes them weak or something. That's so not true. When you don't know how to do something, ask somebody, learn it, and then you'll see the wonders of what you've asked. Because if you don't ask, you'll never know, Paul.
That's right. Because everybody wants to, seem like they're smart, don't you think? And are afraid to really ask. But the people who do the best ask the most questions. Maybe they make the most ruckus. They cause the teacher more problems. And they bring out things like, "Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't think to ask it." Because everybody's trying to be cool or quiet or not, or show that they know everything when they really don't.
That's very true. Like, when people are talking to you and they use a word that you don't know, very few people will say, "Whoa, hold on. What does that mean?" Because they don't want to seem stupid. The problem is you are stupid because you let somebody say something to you that you don't understand.
Right. And if you want to be a good communicator, don't go out of your way to use overly complex words that people don't know, that you just picked up like 5 minutes ago. You talk like you knew it forever. I mean, I do that too. We all do that a little bit. Oh yeah, that's such and such. Just finished looking at it. Oh yeah, no. You remember that, and 2 more sentences. That's it. You couldn't take a test on it. But so we play with each other. We play act and do little things. Just don't make a habit of it. Especially if you're trying to sell something or really teach somebody something they want to know. You can't exercise your own ego too much and really be effective, in my opinion.
No doubt about it. And depends on who you're talking to. First of all, communication is about getting an idea from one person to another. I call it the Don King theory. He would use words that nobody knows what he's talking about to make himself look smart. Except You're not that smart when nobody knows what the hell you're talking about.
Right. You just talking a foreign language.
Well, now that I'm out on a cruise ship, this subject might come up. Oh boy, this subject has come up. This is an amazing study that they did. These are the 8 things that happen to your body when you stop drinking alcohol for 1 month, just for 1 month. And a lot of people do that for Lent, or I think they have something called dry January. But I don't think people realize how bad alcohol really affects your body. And I'll start off with the first thing. If you stop drinking for 1 month, you'll actually sleep better because the alcohol will not disrupt your circadian rhythm. And the way you really sleep, the way you really get rest is your rapid eye movement, your REM. And alcohol stops that rapid eye movement, so you really don't get enough rest, Paul.
That's didn't know that, but I'm not surprised. There's all kinds of stuff that happens with alcohol, but you also get don't you get a reduction in blood pressure?
Oh yes, there's 7 more things you do. And I have to tell everybody in the world, I did drink. And I drank a lot. So I know about these things. My friend, my main man, Dr. Paul, really doesn't drink much. So these things are not as potent to him as it is to me. Number 2, Paul, you'll be more hydrated. And you know how important being hydrated is because alcohol does cause dehydration.
Oh, well, that's not good because that dehydration affects all your organs, especially the kidneys.
Oh,
So,
especially your skin and your brain, Paul,
yeah, okay.
because alcohol deprives your skin of nutrients. And when you stop drinking, you may notice that your skin actually has like a healthier glow and maybe less wrinkles, less puffiness.
Yeah. I'm not trying to rain on everybody's parade, but I think studies have shown that even a little alcohol is really not good for you.
No, that's why they're saying this, Paul. For 1 month, all these things will change in your body. That's pretty incredible. Alcohol can be very, very deadly. So you really need to be careful if you're drinking. Number three, you'll have better liver functions. The liver is your body's largest internal organ, and it filters everything. It aids in digestion, it stores minerals, vitamins, it regulates blood clotting, it eliminates waste. Can you imagine that if you stop drinking for a month, your liver can actually regenerate itself?
Really, it can regenerate itself.
That's correct. If your liver damage isn't too great, a month-long break can actually allow your liver to recover. Number four, anybody who's dealing with any pain, guess what? Stop drinking, inflammation will decrease. And your pain comes from inflammation, Paul.
Okay. Yeah, inflammation is kind of the enemy for everyone. Anything you can do to minimize it is better for you.
No doubt, because if you continue to inflame your organs, you can actually lead to them shutting down, which would not be good.
Not good.
Number five, for anybody who wants to lose weight, if you stop drinking, you'll probably lose some weight. Because when you drink alcohol, your metabolism slows down and you work harder, your body works harder to process fats and sugar.
Yeah. Well, that's a tough thing. Now you were talking about our favorite Knicks, but with all these sports programs, there's lots of ads for drinking.
God, and doesn't it seem fun when they're drinking like that?
Oh, they're usually in a bar, or everybody's smiling. No fights. Everybody's smiling.
I bet you didn't notice, Paul, on an alcohol commercial, you won't ever see him really drink the alcohol. You'll just see him hold it.
That's true. That's true. That's what they used to do with cigarette ads. They'd have women smoke. Women smokers. They implied they were smoking, but rarely did they smoke. They usually had it in their fingers. As I think about it, got to go back a long way to see that.
Yeah, they even had. Remember, they had doctors smoking cigarettes in
Yes,
the net.
doctors smoking. Yes.
Yeah, don't believe everything you see. I'll tell you that. Number six, your immune system will even work better. Your immune system keeps you healthy. And when something comes into your immune system, you need a strong immune system to actually fight it. And that's why if you live too clean, your immune system actually isn't that strong. How about that?
Right. That makes sense because you got to, but you're saying you've got to build it up. You got to build it up to have that strength and then keep it strong so it'll fight off the stuff that's going to kill you or make you really, really sick.
Number seven, according to the American Heart Association, your blood pressure will drop. Drinking too much alcohol can raise your blood pressure. And hypertension, that can lead to stroke.
Yes. That's not good. I've known a couple of people that had dear friends that had strokes, and it's not pretty. Sometimes they don't recover. One did not recover. A couple others did recover, 100%. But anything you can do to take care of your health, and as I recall, they were pretty liberal drinkers, let's say.
Number eight, and this is amazing because a lot of people drink to feel better, but actually ethanol is the main ingredient in alcohol. Number eight, your mood will improve. Initially, it tends to calm you down. But, if you drink too much, it leads to hangovers, mood swings, exhaustion, and depression because alcohol raises your cortisol levels, Paul, in your brain, and that increases stress. So actually, alcohol is a depressant.
and it will actually make you depressed in the long run. How about that, Paul?
Yeah. And in the extreme, unfortunately, I know that to cause some people who were very normally passive become very, very violent to the point that it ended careers.
Well, Paul, you know what? I bet you if you go in the prison system, I bet you 85% of those people in prison, alcohol had something to do with it.
Probably so. Alcohol
Usually
and or
people,
drugs.
violent crimes and things like that. This is what happens. This was a survey done by 1,000 people. And this is what happens if you go 1 month without drinking. This is the survey that they took. 93% of the participants had a sense of achievement just by being able to quit for that month. 88% said they saved money. 70% had generally improved health. 71% slept better. 67% had more energy. 58% lost weight. 57% had better concentration, and 54% had better skin. That's proof right there, Paul.
Yeah, I think what's happening is basically those are the positive things that are happening when you can clean yourself up.
So, Paul, what happens when you get real angry? When you get real angry, cortisol drops into your bloodstream or into your body, and you actually start destroying all these functions that you have, like your liver and all the organs, because cortisol does that to you. How can you get rid of anger when you get really angry at somebody? Well, they did a research and they said if you write it down, shred it, burn it, ball it up into a ball, write down your anger, and throw it away. They actually did a survey and they said your anger will decrease.
That is something. I saw that same survey, and I wonder if Commander Drew knows this. You know, they have a term for that. You know what
What
it
is
is?
it?
It's called backward magical contagion. Backward magical contagion. I had to read that about 4 or 5 times. Totally made up. But basically, what the theory, the Japanese theory, was that if you can attach your feelings into a physical object and destroy the physical object, the bad feelings go away. They said that they kind of proved this is true in, I don't know, it's a couple hundred people, and they had control groups. And those that did that did feel better versus their control group that didn't do that. They were still mad at whatever stimulus they used to anger 200 people. Half of them felt better, the other half didn't. We didn't do it. So it's called back magical contagion. What's contagion? Contagion is the spreading of disease. Magical, backward magical. It seems weird, but I guess it's the magically you get rid of it. I'm thinking of Lucky Charms, magically delicious.
That's very good, Paul. You know, in Japan, they have something called Hakadishi Sara. Hakadishi Sara. And that's a little festival that they have that they find they take plates, small discs, and they smash them. And it's an annual festival. They smash discs. And those are all those dishes that they smash. Those are supposed to be the problems and the angers that they have. And as soon as they explode on the ground, they say that the anger kind of goes away.
Okay. Well, don't do it in my house, and someone's got to clean that mess up.
All right, Dr. Paul, this brings me to something else. You know, we worked at FedEx and we love FedEx. I love FedEx. And we were always in the top companies in the country, in the world to work for. We have the top 10 companies in the world to work for, and FedEx is not in the top 10 anymore. You know what the number one company in the country to work for is?
No.
The Hilton hotel chain. And they have 2,400 job openings. How about that?
2,400 in the U.S. It's worldwide.
Worldwide.
Okay.
Number two is Cisco. That's a technology company. They have 1,800 job openings.
Okay.
Number three, NVIDIA. That's technology also, 1,750 openings. This is good if you need a job. Yeah. Number four, and they really are good, American Express. They have almost 3,000 job openings. Synchrony Financial. I haven't heard of that.
Mhm.
They have 310 job openings, and they're number 5. Number 6 on the list is Wegmans. Now, this is amazing, Paul. They have almost 1,300 job openings. Wegmans hasn't ever laid off an employee in 107 years of operation. How about that one, Paul? I never knew that.
That's impressive. I have to look it up. Wegmans, isn't that it's a chain on the West Coast, I think.
Yes, it's a food and drug stores.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
That's a good company. Number 7, Accenture Technology, 500 openings. Number 8, Hospitality again, the Marriott Hotel. They have over 5,000 openings. Number 9, Cadence, which is technology. And number 10, Comcast, NBC, Universal, with about 1,100 openings. All right, Paul, remember we talked about traveling, where to go. Well, wouldn't you want to go to a healthy city?
Of course. Yeah, not an unhealthy city. Yeah, that's where I want to go.
I have the top 10 and the bottom 10 cities in the country that are the healthiest and least healthiest.
Okay.
What city would you think would be the healthiest city in the country?
Okay, I'm thinking no air pollution, probably. I'm thinking somewhere in the West, a lot of sunshine. Let's say, oh, Phoenix, Arizona.
San Francisco, California.
Okay.
San Francisco's number 1. Honolulu, Hawaii, number 2. Number 3, Seattle, Washington. Number 4, San Diego, California. Number 5, Washington, D.C. 6 is Portland, Oregon. 7, Denver, Colorado. 8, Salt Lake City, Utah. 9, Scottsdale, Arizona. And number 10 is Irvine, California.
Okay. Well, I'm pretty warm because I did say West Coast. Most
You
of
sure
that
did.
is west of where I am, except for DC. That's not surprising. You know why? Because times I've been up there forever for the last 40 years. There's a lot of military people up there, and there's always somebody running, even though it's urban. They have a lot of people running there, and in Honolulu, they're running all the time. But the rest of it's on the western part of the U.S.
Well, if you have a top 10, you have to have a bottom 10. So
Uh-oh.
these are the places I wouldn't go if you want to be healthy. The number 1 on the list, Dr. Paul, is Brownsville, Texas.
Okay. I used to live near Brownsville, Texas. I'm familiar with that area.
Number 2, Gulfport, Mississippi.
Okay.
Number 3, Laredo, Texas.
Been
Number
there.
4, we live near here, Columbus, Georgia.
Okay.
Number 5, Shreveport, Louisiana. Oh, gosh. Number 6, Augusta, Georgia.
Uh-oh.
7, Fayetteville, South Carolina. 8, we both flew here. We actually trained in this city, Corpus Christi, Texas.
Really? Corpus
Yes. Number 9, Detroit, Michigan. And number 10, Huntington, West Virginia. Dr. Paul, the name of our show, even from the Mediterranean, is called The Wingman Show. And we do The Wingman Show because we always have a wingman. This wingman this week is a very special wingman. He's the person who actually taught me how to fly. And his name is Lieutenant Craig Louigott. Lieutenant Louigott is the first person I was in an airplane with. And I got to be honest with you, the very first time I got in an airplane, it didn't even have wings on it. It was called the bailout trainer. And they would start up this airplane, and all you had to do was sit in the cockpit, remember 3 things, and then jump out. That's all you had to do. It was my very first time in an airplane. No wings, sitting on the ground. It was so loud. There was 3 things you had to remember, and the only thing I could remember was Mayday, because I heard it before in movies. And all I was saying was Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. Inside of me, I was going, what the hell have I gotten myself into?
Yeah.
Well, Craig Louigott took me up in a T-28, the very first flight. And I am not kidding. I said it again. I don't know. Inside my head now, I would never say it out loud. But what have I done? I don't think I can do this. Well, we took off and we started flying. Dr. Paul, do you know my very first airplane ride? We had an engine emergency. So I was going a little bit left, a little bit right. This red light came on, and Lieutenant Louis Gott grabbed the stick from me, added full power, and went straight up. We had an engine oil sump problem, and he had to do a controlled landing. Anyway, it was so violent. My very first flight, I just knew that I could not do this. There's no way I could learn all this stuff. The reason Lieutenant Craig Louis Gott is my wingman is because he had faith in me, he had trust in me, he taught me how to fly. But more than that, like I said, he believed I could fly. And that's all I needed, Paul. All I needed was somebody else to believe that I could do it. And Lieutenant Craig Louis Gott, I can't ever, ever, ever thank you enough. And a little side note on that, I remember eating at his house one day, and he had a diploma from the University of Louisville up there and a diploma from the University of Kentucky on the wall. And, you know, they're big rivals. And I made a little joke. I was like, whoa, what happens when you guys play basketball? Because one was his wife, one was his. Lieutenant Louis Gott asked me to come outside for a second, and he said, Ensign Brown, don't ever talk about Louisville and Kentucky basketball in my house again. And that was the last thing he said, Paul.
Wow. Arch rivals.
Arch rivals. And there was actually a law that they couldn't play basketball.
Wow. That's extreme.
That was extreme. Well, they can do it now. Well, Dr. Paul, thank you so much for being with us on this Mediterranean cruise. Dr. Paul, for you and all our listeners out there, anything that you think is important, anything that you think is beautiful, and whatever makes you happy, may you have that today and forever. I pray for peace, Dr. Paul.
I pray for peace too, and it looks very peaceful where you are. And we appreciate all those for listening, liking, and sharing our message. Please subscribe. Click the like button or the thumbs up if you're looking at it on YouTube, and pass this on to someone. This is great. I enjoy this broadcast. The only thing that'd be greater now is if the Blue Angels just flew behind you and just did some kind of maneuver. That would just, or any Navy airplane or any airplane, that would really be something. Or a bird even.
What if a whale jumped out of the water right there? That would be the bomb.
That would work. That would work. We'll do some AI stuff. Maybe we can get our guy to do that.
Thank you once again, Dr. Paul Thompson, my friend. Thank you for your love, your time, and that's something that we won't ever get back. I want to thank all the listeners, too. Thank you so much for doing the show, Dr. Paul. We're jamming.
Well, thank you, Mr. Drew, for inviting me on. Always good to talk to you. And ladies and gentlemen, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to this podcast or any of the podcasts. If you're looking at YouTube, they say smash the like button. Don't smash it. Just press it gently and refer to use as a link to all your friends. You can also look at us on our website, wingmenshow.com, WINGMEN show, SHOW.com, altogether, wingmenshow.com. And we hope to see you in the future. Thanks again, Mr. Drew.
Oh, you're welcome. And we're still floating like butterflies and stinging like bees. Rumble, you badass jet pilots, rumble. May there be peace on earth, and goodwill towards all men and women.